Welcome back. I'm your host at Navy Legends, and I want to start this one with a physics problem. Not a complex one, a simple one. If a missile is traveling at Mach 8, approximately 2,700 meters per second, and your radar detects it at a range of 40 kilometers, you have 14 seconds before it arrives. 14 seconds to confirm the track, classify the contact, generate a fire control solution, select an interceptor, get authorization, open the VLS hatch, and put a round in the air with enough lead time to achieve intercept geometry. 14 seconds is not enough time for a human being to complete that sequence. It is barely enough time for an automated combat system running at full processing speed to attempt it. And on the morning of August 14th, 2026, in the southern Baltic Sea, the crew of the HNLMS De Zeven Provinciën discovered exactly what 14 seconds means when the incoming contact is not a training simulation, and the round in the air is a 9M22 Zircon hypersonic anti-ship missile. They discovered it because they survived it. Not comfortably, not cleanly, but they survived it. And the way they survived it, and the way the United States Navy's assets in the Baltic responded in the 73 minutes that followed, is what we are going to break down today. The date is August 14th, 2026. The time is 5:51 local. The southern Baltic Sea, approximately 68 nautical miles northwest of Kaliningrad, the Russian exclave on the Baltic coast, wedged between Poland and Lithuania, home to the Baltic Fleet's principal surface and submarine operating base at Baltiysk. The water depth here is between 40 and 80 meters. The Baltic is not deep ocean. It is not the Philippine Sea or the Persian Gulf. It is a shallow, semi-enclosed body of water with complex salinity layering, dense commercial traffic, and a strategic geography that places NATO's Baltic member states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, in direct proximity to Russian naval power at all times. The HNLMS De Zeven Provinciën, F-802, a De Zeven Provinciën-class air defense and command frigate of the Royal Netherlands Navy, is the flagships of standing NATO Maritime Group 1, SNMG-1, operating as part of a 6-ship Allied task force conducting enhanced forward presence deterrence operations under NATO command. The task force includes the German frigate of G.S. Baden-Württemberg, the Danish frigate HDMS Niels Juel, the Polish destroyer ORP Kościuszko, the USS Porter DDG-78, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer serving as the task force's primary Aegis air defense asset, and the USS Montpelier SSN 765, a Los Angeles-class fast-attack submarine running submerged 28 nautical miles northeast of the surface group on the threat axis toward Kaliningrad. The De Zeven Provinciën is not a small ship. She displaces 6,050 tons. She carries an APAR phased array radar system, active phased array radar, that is among the most capable medium-range air defense sensors in the NATO inventory, and a VLS loaded with 40 SM-2 Block 3A missiles and 32 evolved Sea Sparrow missiles. She is, by any assessment, a serious air defense combatant. She is also, by the assessment of the Russian Baltic Fleet's targeting staff, the ship that commands the task force's air picture, which makes her the priority target. The intelligence that preceded the engagement was accurate, but incomplete. NATO's joint intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance architecture had been tracking elevated readiness indicators at Baltiysk for 11 days. Additional fuel transfers to surface combatants, the deployment of 2 Kilo-class submarines from their home pier, and, most significantly, the observed loading of what imagery analysts assessed as 3 M22 Zircon hypersonic missile canisters onto the Karakurt-class small missile ship, FS Odintsovo. The Karakurt-class is a 800-ton corvette, small, fast, and specifically designed to carry and fire caliber cruise missiles, and, in its latest variants, Zircon hypersonic missiles from its 3 S-14 vertical launch system. The Odintsovo had been at sea for 6 days before August 14th. Her position was tracked intermittently. She was operating in the shallow coastal waters south of the Samland Peninsula, an area of complex acoustic and radar clutter that made continuous surveillance difficult, even for the P-8A Poseidon aircraft tasked with the Baltic surveillance mission. At 5:38:14, 13 minutes before the missile arrives at the HNLMS De Zeven Provinciën, the RFS Odintsovo fires a single 3M-22 Zircon from her 3S-14 VLS. The Zircon is a 2-stage hypersonic missile. A solid fuel booster accelerates the round to approximately Mach 3 before the scramjet sustainer ignites and drives the weapon to its cruise speed of Mach 8. At cruise altitude, which the Zircon maintains between 28,000 and 40,000 meters during its mid-course phase, before descending to a low-altitude terminal approach. The missile is flying faster than any surface-to-air missile currently in NATO's inventory, was designed to intercept. Its radar cross-section is reduced by the plasma sheath, created by aerodynamic heating at hypersonic velocity, giving it an effective RCS of approximately 0.01 square meters during its mid-course phase, smaller than a large bird, hotter than a jet engine, moving faster than a rifle bullet. The USS Porter's SPY-1DV radar detects the Zircon at 5:49:41 in its terminal descent phase, having already completed its mid-course high-altitude cruise and now diving from 28,000 meters towards sea-skimming altitude at an angle of approximately 55 degrees. Range at first detection, 41.3 kilometers. Speed, Mach 7.4 and decelerating as it descends into denser atmosphere. The Aegis combat system classifies the contact in 1.1 seconds. The track geometry computes a projected impact point on the De Zeven Provinciën in approximately 15.2 seconds. 15 seconds. The TAO aboard the USS Porter authorizes engagement in under 2 seconds. But there is an immediate, brutal physics problem. The SM-2 Block 3A, the primary air defense missile aboard the task force's ships, was not designed to intercept a target moving at Mach 7 in a steep terminal dive. Its engagement envelope against hypersonic targets in terminal phase is severely constrained by the interceptor's own seeker acquisition geometry and the engagement time available. The SM-3 was designed for this kind of intercept, but only in exo-atmospheric engagements against ballistic missiles. At 41 kilometers range and 15 seconds to impact, there is no SM-3 solution available. The Porter fires 2 SM-2 Block 3A rounds in immediate succession, not because the engagement probability is high, but because there is nothing else in the magazine that offers any chance at all. The rounds are in the air within 4.3 seconds of the track detection. They are guided by the Porter's SPQ-9B fire control illuminator toward the computed intercept point. The engagement geometry requires the SM-2ES to intercept a target that is decelerating from Mach 7.4 to approximately Mach 4.8 as it approaches sea level, still more than 4 times the speed of sound, with an IR and radar signature that the SM-2's seeker was not optimized to acquire in a steep terminal dive profile. The first SM-2 misses. The seeker acquires and tracks the Zircon's plasma wake rather than the missile body, resulting in a fuse activation 34 meters behind the target, outside the lethal fragmentation radius for a direct kill, but within the margin that produces fragment spray across the missile's tail section. The Zircon's scramjet sustainer is struck by 7 fragments. 2 penetrate the engine casing. The sustainer loses 40% of its thrust output. The missile's terminal velocity drops from Mach 4.2 at sea skimming entry to approximately Mach 3.1 at the moment of impact. Mach 3.1. Still 1,050 meters per second. Still a 300-kilogram warhead. Still catastrophic if it hits the hull. The second SM-2, launched 1.8 seconds after the first, detonates in a proximity kill attempt at 8 meters from the Zircon's nose section. The warhead and seeker electronics of the Zircon are destroyed by the fragmentation pattern. The missile is now unguided and kinetically unstable, its nose section fragmenting and its aerodynamic stability collapsing. It tumbles. A tumbling hypersonic missile at Mach 3.1, 400 meters from the De Zeven Provinciën, is not a solved problem. The De Zeven Provinciën's own Goalkeeper, CIWS, a 30mm, 7-barrel Gatling gun system operating at 4,200 rounds per minute, engages the tumbling Zircon at 380 meters range. The Goalkeeper puts approximately 140 rounds into the target in a 2.1-second burst. The fragmented nose section and the warhead body are struck multiple times. The warhead does not detonate. The fusing system, already damaged by the SM-2 proximity kill, does not complete its arming sequence. The inert, fragmented, tumbling body of what was a Zircon hypersonic missile impacts the De Zeven Provinciën's superstructure at approximately 340 meters per second, subsonic, but still carrying kinetic energy equivalent to a vehicle impact at 1,200 kilometers per hour. The impact point is the aftermast structure, immediately above the APAR radar array housing. The mast structure is destroyed. The APAR radar, the ship's primary air search and fire control sensor, loses power to its aft face and forward starboard face. 2 of its 4 active faces go offline. The De Zeven Provinciën's air defense capability is immediately degraded to approximately 35% of rated performance. Debris from the mast and from the Zircon's body rains across the flight deck and the afterhull section. 2 sailors on the flight deck sustain laceration injuries from falling debris. 1 receives a serious head injury when struck by a section of mast framing. He is unconscious and immediately treated by the ship's medical team. 3 additional sailors in the after-damage control station sustain minor injuries from the shock of the impact. A fire starts in the cabling runs beneath the mast base. Electrical insulation burning from a short circuit caused by the structural damage. The ship's fixed fire suppression system in the mast base compartment activates. The fire is controlled within 4 minutes. It doesn't spread. The De Zeven Provinciën is damaged. She is not dead. She is making 18 knots on her own power. Her forward APAR faces are operational. Her VLS is intact. Her crew is fighting. The task force commander, flag aboard the De Zeven Provinciën, assesses the situation in under 60 seconds. 1 missile fired. 1 ship damaged. The Odintsovo is somewhere in the coastal clutter south of the Samland Peninsula, with at least 1 additional Zircon in her VLS. The Karakurt-class corvette's 3S-14 system carries 8 cells, and the intelligence assessment had estimated 3 to 4 Zircon rounds in the loadout. There may be 3 more inbound. There may be 7. The only confirmed fact is that the first one found his ship. He authorizes offensive action under Article 5 response protocols, which had been pre-delegated to the SNMG-1 commander by NATO Supreme Allied Commander Europe 12 days prior, in anticipation of exactly this scenario. The authorization covers strikes against the vessel that fired the missile and against the associated command and support infrastructure at Baltiysk. The USS Montpelier, running submerged 28 nautical miles northeast, received the attack data via underwater acoustic communication link within 90 seconds of the Zircon impact. She has been tracking the RFS Odintsovo intermittently for the past 4 hours. The Karakurt's shallow draft and low acoustic signature in the Baltic's thermocline disrupted acoustic environment have made continuous tracking difficult. But the Montpellier's AN/BQQ-10 sonar has a last known position and a projected course. The Montpellier's commanding officer, operating under the pre-delegated offensive authority conveyed through the task force data link, fires 2 Mark 48 ADCAP heavyweight torpedoes at 055822, targeting the Odintsovo's projected position. The Mark 48 ADCAP is a 533mm heavyweight torpedo carrying a 295-kilogram warhead, capable of 55 knots and active/passive acoustic homing with wire guidance. It is the most capable torpedo in the U.S. Navy's inventory and one of the most capable in the world. But the Baltic Sea is a difficult acoustic environment for torpedo homing. The shallow water creates multipath reflections that confuse the acoustic seeker, and the commercial traffic density means the sonar picture is cluttered with non-target returns at all ranges. The first Mark 48 runs its initial course on wire guidance, approaching the projected datum from the northwest. At 6:04:17, 5 minutes and 55 seconds after launch, the torpedo's active seeker acquires a contact at 1,100 meters range. The contact's acoustic signature is consistent with a small surface combatant at low speed. The wire guidance operator aboard the Montpelier confirms the solution and commands the torpedo to go active autonomous. The Mark 48 homes. At 6:04:51, it detonates against the hull of the RFS Odintsovo amidships at a depth of 3 meters, directly beneath the keel at the point of maximum hull draft. The bubble pulse collapse breaks the Odintsovo's keel. A 800-ton corvette does not have the structural resilience of an Arleigh Burke destroyer. She breaks in two. Both sections sink within 4 minutes in 62 meters of water. There are no observed survivors from the ship's crew of 52. The second Mark 48 is recalled via wire guidance, safe-armed. It is not needed. The offensive action against Baltiysk is executed 41 minutes later, at 06:39:44, by a package of 8 JASSM-ER missiles launched from 2 B-52H Stratofortress aircraft, operating from RAF Fairford under SACEUR authorization. The B-52S, which had been holding at a pre-planned racetrack orbit, 340 nautical miles west of the engagement area since the elevated readiness indicators triggered a precautionary alert 6 days prior, launch their weapons from outside Russian air defense coverage and turn away. The JASSM-ERs fly their programmed routes at low altitude and arrive over Baltiysk in a compressed 6-minute window. Target 1. The Karakurt-class berth and associated missile loading facility at the Baltiysk Naval Pier Complex. 2. JASSM-ERs. Both impact. The pier loading crane and the associated Zircon canister storage building, a semi-hardened structure containing what imagery assessment estimated as 8 to 12 Zircon rounds in transport configuration, is destroyed. Post-strike infrared imagery shows a sustained fire in the storage building consistent with solid fuel propellant combustion. Secondary explosions are recorded for 22 minutes. Target 2. The Baltic Fleet Tactical Operations Center at Baltiysk, the shore-based command node that directed the Odintsovo's engagement. 3. JASSM-ERs. 2 impact as planned. The third experiences a navigation system anomaly in its terminal phase, a GPS signal degradation in the Kaliningrad area that U.S. electronic warfare analysts had predicted as a possibility, given Russia's well-documented GPS jamming capability in the Kaliningrad exclave. The third round's INS backup guidance directs it to a fallback impact point, 480 meters from the intended aim point. It impacts an administrative building adjacent to the operations center. The operations center structure itself sustains damage from the 2 successful impacts, but is not confirmed as destroyed. Post-strike signals intelligence indicates a reduction in tactical communications traffic from the facility for approximately 4 hours before operations apparently transferred to an alternate node. Target 3. The Russian coastal radar installation at Pionerskiy, north of Kaliningrad, which provides over-the-horizon targeting coverage for Baltic Fleet surface and air operations, including the engagement corridor used by the Odintsovo. 2. JASSM-ERs. Both impact. The radar installation is destroyed. The fog of war claims 1 additional target. The intelligence package had designated a fuel storage and logistics facility at the eastern edge of the Baltiysk complex as a secondary aim point, a target intended to degrade Baltic Fleet operational tempo. One JASSM-ER was assigned to this target. The weapon performs its terminal approach and conducts its DSMAC scene-matching check against the preloaded imagery. The imagery shows a fuel storage tank farm. The DSMAC return shows empty hardstands where the tanks were photographed 6 days prior. The tanks have been moved, drained, and relocated to dispersed positions throughout the base in anticipation of exactly this kind of strike. The JASSM-ER's abort protocol activates. The round impacts an empty hardstand. No damage to assessed military infrastructure. The dispersal was planned. The intelligence was 6 days old. The tanks are somewhere in Baltiysk, intact. By 7:45, local, the engagement picture is established. The RFS Odintsovo is on the bottom of the Baltic Sea in 62 meters of water. The Baltiysk Pier Complex and Zircon storage facility are destroyed. The Pionerskiy radar is destroyed. The Tactical Operations Center is damaged, but not confirmed destroyed. The GPS jamming that degraded the third JASSM-ER is still active across the Kaliningrad area, forcing NATO air defense planners to evaluate its impact on follow-on strike options. The De Zeven Provinciën is proceeding southwest at 18 knots toward Kiel for emergency repairs to her APAR system, escorted by the FGS Baden-Württemberg. Her commanding officer has been relieved by the executive officer, not due to any failure of command, but because the captain sustained a concussion in the mast impact, and the ship's medical officer has determined he is not fit to remain on watch. He will spend 2 days in the Kiel Naval Hospital and return to command of his ship within a week. 4 sailors injured aboard the De Zeven Provinciën. 1 serious head injury. No fatalities. In Moscow, the Kremlin releases a statement at 9:15 local, 3 hours and 24 minutes after the Zircon launch, describing the Baltic Fleet's action as a proportionate response to provocative NATO military encroachment in Russia's near maritime security zone. The statement does not acknowledge the loss of the Odintsovo, the destruction of the Baltiysk facilities, or the 4 casualties aboard a Netherlands Navy warship. Western media notes the statement's silence on these points. NATO's Secretary General convenes an emergency North Atlantic Council session at 10 o'clock Brussels time. The Article 5 question, whether the attack on the De Zeven Provinciën constitutes an attack on a NATO member requiring collective defense response, is debated in the Council chamber for 6 hours. The legal position is not in doubt. The De Zeven Provinciën is a Netherlands Navy vessel. The attack was clearly deliberate and state-directed. Article 5 applies. What is in doubt is the scope of the response, whether the JASSM-ER strikes already executed constitute the full Article 5 response, or whether additional action is warranted. The debate is not about whether to respond. It is about how far to go. Here at Navy Legends, what the August 14th engagement demonstrates is something that naval planners have been quietly modeling for years, but that no one in the public domain has wanted to state plainly. A sufficiently fast, sufficiently small, and sufficiently maneuverable hypersonic missile can partially defeat a modern naval air defense system, even when that system performs at or above designed parameters. The Porter's SM-2S did everything right. The engagement probability against a Mach 7 terminal diving contact was never high, maybe 12 to 18% per round under the engagement conditions present, and yet the intercept came within meters of a clean kill. The Goalkeeper finished the job against an already degraded missile. The De Zeven Provinciën took a hit from a missile that arrived at the target at 1/3 its design speed, partially destroyed, kinetically unstable, with an unfused warhead. If the SM-2 had missed entirely, the Zircon would have impacted the APAR radar housing at Mach 4.2 with a functioning warhead. The outcome would have been different. The SM-6, in its ballistic missile defense intercept mode, offers better geometry against hypersonic glide vehicles in their terminal phase than the SM-2. The Navy knows this. It has been working on the problem. But the SM-6 is not present on every NATO allied ship. The De Zeven Provinciën does not carry it. The Porter does. If the Zircon had targeted the Porter instead of the flagship, the engagement geometry would have been somewhat more favorable. Instead, it targeted the ship with the less capable interceptor inventory, the ship that the Russian Baltic Fleet's targeting staff correctly assessed as the Air Defense Command node. The target selection was not random. The weapon timing was not random. The choice to fire a single round rather than a salvo was not random. It was a calibrated political signal. One missile, one hit, one degraded ship. Enough to demonstrate capability. Not enough to trigger a maximally severe NATO response. The three M22 Zircon as a coercive instrument rather than as a war-winning weapon. Understanding that distinction is the beginning of understanding what the Baltic Sea has become in 2026. Not a battleground, but a threshold. A place where the line between deterrence and war is being tested by a missile that travels faster than the response time of the human beings responsible for stopping it. Stay informed, stay vigilant. I'll see you in the next one.